Hi, we're here at Airecon 5 and I'm Hubert. This is...
I'm David, hi.
And David is showing us a prototype of his game. Now, you might not know David, but he wrote Anachrony. All right.
And a few more.
And a few other games. If you want to plug them, do you want to give them a quick...
Dice Settlers, Kitchen Rush, and I co-designed Days of Fire and Petrichor with some other lovely fellows. So these are the games.
So he's designed a few famous games.
Famous, yes.
Yeah. I've heard of most of them. I've heard Petrichor and Kitchen Rush.
Dice Settlers was the newest one. That was last lesson.
Yeah, that's got some amazing art. I love the artist who did.
Miko is always great.
Yeah, I love.
Anyway, this is my next one.
Your next one.
This is coming from the Plastic Soldier Company onto
I know
Kickstarter.
Plastic Soldier Company. Yeah, I know.
Plastic Soldier Company currently has Blitzkrieg on Kickstarter. This is not by me, but I'll do a solo mode for it. It's really fun. Check it out.
Plug.
But this will come in the summer, probably in June. I don't have an exact date for it yet.
Okay, so just after UKG.
Yes, it's probably we're gonna be demoing it with the real art at UK Game Expo because this is all my.
So I will see you there then.
Yes,
I will be there.
So this is all homemade prototype, but by UK Game Expo we'll have the real art to demo it with.
Okay.
And then after UK Game Expo we'll launch it on Kickstarter.
Excellent.
And this is a co-design with my good friend Nick Shaw. The solo game community knows Nick Shaw because he's involved in dozens of solo modes, but this is his debut as one of the lead designers. So
okay.
Well,
tell us about. Obviously, it's a dice game. And it's based in Rome.
Yes, it's a dice game and it's based in Rome. And also, some people said that 2018 was the year of the roll and write.
So you're doing a roll and write game?
No, I don't.
Oh, you're not doing. Oh, I fell in that trap.
When the way I try, well, yes and no. It's a roll and write, but it's not what. When Dominion came out and they invented the deck building genre,
my favorite genre,
then for a few years, every game was a deck builder game, and they all did Dominion but slightly different.
Yeah, so like different flavors.
Yes, and then after a few years, Mage Knight, Few Acres of Snow, and a few more games if I keep thinking of it, there came games that had deck building in them, but they were not deck building games.
Yeah.
So this is a dice game that has roll and write in it.
But it's not the major component of the game.
And if you're expecting a Welcome to, or you're expecting a Gunston's cover, then you're gonna be like, whoa, what's happening here?
Yeah.
Whereas if you're expecting like Baron Park, the dice game, but a bit heavier, inspired by Dice Settlers, and
okay, I like Baron Park.
And then it involves drawing on a draw pad. So yes, it's a roll and write, but it's a 90-minute dice game with multiple dice manipulations, high interaction, player powers, asymmetry. So it's not a 15-minute tiny little roll and write. That's what I'm trying to say.
So you're taking this game to another level.
Yes, I'm trying to do the game to roll and write that Mage Knight and Few Acres of Snow did to Dominion. It's like
I get where you're coming from.
It's nice. Let's go to the next level.
Yeah.
And as far as I know, nobody did that yet. So.
But not many people have been able to write a game that's got time travel that works.
Yes.
So if a man's going to do it.
Thank you. Well, again, setting expectations. If you've seen Anachrony and you've seen the 1 million components that doesn't fit on this tiny table, this game is not that big. I haven't gone completely insane. Not every game has to be that big.
Show us how it works then.
So the way it works.
We turn this round so
yes, there's a board that looks like this. You will notice that it's a prototype home printed by me, in fact home drawn in PowerPoint by me, and I am terrible at graphics. So as you'll notice that it's a square grid, and this is the map of Rome with the 7 hills marked on it colored, and the river Tiber and the Servian Wall. And around it there is a abstract map of the Roman Empire, because the story is that Rome just burned down in 64 and some outlying colonies are refusing to pay taxes because they see how weak you are. So the Emperor Nero tasks us to rebuild Rome and also to raise some legions to go out and get the settlements back to paying taxes.
Yeah.
So so the two main goals of the game is raise taxes in the empire and build buildings in Rome.
Right.
And the way that works is that there are dice. If you've played Pulsar, where you roll a bunch of dice and then you draft them, then you have the right idea, but the main difference is here that this is not numbers, this is icons.
These are customized
So,
dice.
so I tend to explain it as Dice Settlers meets Pulsar, but that's not entirely true, but it's a good first impression. So we roll these dice. There is for 2 players 5, for 3 players 7, for 4 players 9 dice. You roll them, and every blue die has the same 6 faces, every yellow die has the same 6 faces, and every red die has the same 6 faces. And blue tends to have more resources, yellow tends to be more flexible, and red tends to have more military stuff on it.
Right.
And then, let's say I start. I will say, I'll take this die, then you say, I'll take this die and this die, then I'll take this die. And then, this is where the Pulsar bit comes in. I'll spend this die taking an action, then you spend that die taking an action, then I'll spend this die taking an action, and then you spend that die taking an action.
Anything happen to this die?
Normally, no. Because there are currently 6 or 7 characters in the game, each of them with many asymmetric abilities. One of the asymmetric abilities is you can pay to draft the last die.
So each of your characters have asymmetric abilities?
Yes, so the way it works is that your player board is also a roll and write bit, so we're gonna scratch things here.
Right.
But the left side of the player board has your advisors, and if you look at 2 different characters, they have different advisors. Well, you're not going to see all the little text, but this bit of the player board and the starting setup of the player boards are different, which means that if I start with the Legatus, I will have many powers that make it easy to have more soldiers. If I play with the Mercator, then there will be many powers that allow me to gain more cloth, and cloth is the more rarest resource of the game. So, and there are the Nobilis. I don't even remember all of them, so we've designed quite a few number of characters. And so what are the actions you do? There are one main action is building here. The way that works is that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 buildings on offer every game. And those buildings are different every game. So I have a huge pile of buildings. They're split into 4 or 5 categories, and we have a suggested set for your first game. But other than that, it's literally pick any 2 manufacturing buildings, any 2 army buildings, any 2 urban buildings. And when you take a build action, you need to have a specific icon on the die, and you say, I'm gonna build a weaver. You take the weaver card, and then you select a space adjacent to your meeple, and you draw that shape onto the board.
Right, so all the cards
have a Tetris shape on them.
Yep.
And you draw that shape onto the board, and then you move your guy onto that space, because next time you need to build adjacent to that. If you want to build on the other side of the map, it's more expensive. So
has interconnectedness.
Yes. And each building has a shape. Each building has a price. Some buildings give an immediate benefit when you build them. And some buildings give you a benefit if anybody, including yourself, builds next to them.
Nice.
So it's positive interaction all through the way. In 2-player, the board is smaller so that we are channeled more together, but in 4-player, plus if you activate somebody else's building, you get a special resource called the Senator, which is good for other magical stuff. So it's very positive interaction. So if I build next to you, your building gets activated, but I get a Senator. So in Dice Settlers, I did a non-random interactive dice game. But most of the interaction in Dice Settlers was I take over yours.
Right.
Whereas now I try to do all positive interaction. I do this, so you gain a little and I gain a little more.
Right.
And every action is designed like that. So that's building. And the other cool thing is that if I build a brickmaker, nobody, including myself, can build a brickmaker until I've built something else.
Oh, so you can't, right.
Unless you have a special icon, which is the rarest icon on the dice, in which case you can just take a card from somebody else. So the drafting and the timing, it almost tells you that you can't do one thing again and again, and you can't do exactly the same thing as the other guy did either.
Right.
So that's building. Then the other thing you can do is you can raise legions. which is an icon on the die, and all
One of the red dice, isn't it?
Actually, the raised legions is mostly on the yellow, but it happens many places.
Like this sword icon.
Not the sword icon, the banner icon. And all the army buildings have a banner ability.
Right.
And when you play a raise a legion ability, you select 3 army buildings. They don't have to be yours, and you get their banner ability. And if you select another players, they get stuff for it. So you want to use your own army buildings because then nobody benefits from it, but you don't have to, and that's the beauty of it, that it's all positive. Because we're building Rome together, we're not fighting each other.
Yes. Get it.
That's where it comes from. And so that's the raised legion. You track soldiers on your player board like one of your resources. Then the next action is Conquer, where you select one of the rebellious colonies, and they all have a soldier cost.
Yeah.
And if you have at least that many soldiers, you just circle it in your color, and now that's your colony. And every time you do that, your number of soldiers is reduced by 1 because you garrisoned them.
Yeah, because they're out there.
Which means that you can either just collect 2 soldiers and gain this immediately, and then you have 1 left, or you can wait until you get 5 soldiers, gain these 2, and then you lose 2, but you kind of reuse it. So it's more efficient to take many at the same time, but you want to take them early.
Yeah.
So taking colonies is worth a few victory points. That's not great. But the next action is building the roads, because Romans like building roads.
Yes, they were very known.
Those are the links between the colonies.
Yeah, sure.
And if you...
Link between the
so colonies, the squares are the colonies and the roads. The roads are...
So you'd have to pencil that in?
Yes, and you can only build a road to a colony that somebody, may or may not be you, have already conquered.
Right.
When you do that, you score points. If you build multiple roads at the same time, you score more points.
Right.
But when you connect a settlement into Rome, the owner of the settlement gets the resource shown on the settlement.
Oh, so you want to be the first.
So I'm okay with you building a road to my settlement, because even though I got 1 point for it, you got 3 points for it, but I got a free resource out of it. And then comes the next action, taxation, where your connected settlements produce their resources again. So the more connected cities you have, the better your taxation gets. And you can use those resources either to hire more advisors, or to build more resources, or buy more soldiers to invade more. So
basically, it's a huge engine building.
It's absolutely an engine building, but there are 2 distinct engine building games. There's the taxation engine building, and there's the building engine building.
Right.
So, and if you ignore either of them completely, you'll be a bit further behind.
Yeah.
But if you do them 50-50, then you're not going to be great at either. So you want to do a 60-30 kind of.
It's a really fine balance.
Yeah. Plus, of course, it's a dice drafting game, so that if you say I need that icon, and that icon is either not coming up or it's being taken from you. So, and there are many dice manipulation abilities, both on advisors, and one of the buildings allow you to claim favors of the gods, which are one-off special effects. And the way the game finishes is that there are 4 different things that can score you points: trading away resources, building buildings, collecting settlements and roads. And whenever you score those points, you tick off spaces on these 4 victory point tracks, and each track has an orange bit at the end.
Right.
And when one of your tracks crosses out all the white ones, then Nero is happy, and you take the top Nero card, which is worth extra points. And when the last Nero card is taken, we play 1 more round and the game is over. So it's an efficiency engine building, a positive interaction dice game with a race element, and which means that you really have to pay attention to all these things.
So you can't go to sleep during the game.
And obviously people specializing in one thing will be great at the race, but will only have 1 leg to stand on. People splitting their attention too much will always be able to do something, but will lose out all the bonus points from Nero.
Right.
So you want to be specialized enough that you can grab a Nero, but not over specialized so that you rely on one thing too much.
Right. Yes.
And to me, that's and all of this is done in an interactive way. So that's why this game is interesting to me, because it does spatial elements in a roll and write way. It does dice drafting like a heavy dice game would.
Yeah.
It does interaction like a light building game would. Yet it's still a 60 to 90 minute thoughtful, deep game. And as fans of mine would know, it obviously comes with the solo mode, because my co-designer Nick Shaw is the solo maestro, always working with me, and this time I let him loose and we created a super fun solo mode where you play against Seneca, Nero's advisor, who tries to take all the things before you can get there. So it's coming on Kickstarter in June probably. It's gonna be surprisingly cheap if I have my way, because the components, as you see, it is one deck of cards, 9 dice,
and then this little guy.
1 meeple that's not gonna break the bank, and then draw pads. It's just draw pads, because you just tear it off, you play it, and that's your board.
Yeah, and knowing Plastic Soldier Company, they will have plastic soldiers.
Yes, probably the Overseer meeples will be replaced with a single mini.
A little plastic mini.
But just that's the way we roll.
If you're going to go for that publisher, the way they're going to do it kind of give, their name gives it away, doesn't it?
Yes, definitely it does.
Okay, anyway, so we will. Well, thank you for showing me this.
Roam and roll.
Roam and roll. I mean, just from what you've been telling me, I'm just like, oh, I definitely like to play this game.
Then I have done my job well.
It's got actually loads of. I love variable player powers. I love trying to. Big tick for me. I love dice drafting games, or drafting games in general. It's one of my favourite mechanisms. The whole
positive interaction.
Positive interactions where you do something and I might get something as well. Because you want to you want to get your stuff. But you don't want your opponent to get too much stuff.
But also, most of the things are designed that, unless you're leading by a lot already, you will usually get more if you're not being stingy about giving it to your opponent. So it's
nice.
like, I can get 2 stuff and not give you anything, but I need 3 stuff. So I could get 4 stuff, but then you get 2 stuff as well.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's how it works.
Well, I look forward to playing this. I will hopefully catch up with you at
UK Game Expo. Yes.
And we can see how it's progressed.
Please do.
I've been Hubert. This has been
David,
and we've been playing. We've been looking at
Roam and Roll.
Roam and Roll
by me and Nick Shaw.
Okay.
Let's not forget Nick, just because he couldn't come.
Aww. Well, nice meeting you.
Thank you very much.
Take care. Thank you. Cheers.